You
Wow.
all are out of combat.
Yeah! Woo!
Wow.
Nice.
Roll
That
me-
was close. That
That was awesome.
I'm still reeling from those two nat 20s.
I can't believe you got those two
Yeah.
taken back to back.
cannot
It's insane.
believe that. Oh my
Oof.
gosh.
I need all of you to roll. Well, what are you going to do? Actually, Sarah, throw me a perception check.
Okay. Perception. 10.
The 10. In the pile of snow that dragon formed into, you see a glint of light shining off something not green, but white and gem-like.
I will walk toward it and give it a closer look.
Oh, as you reach down into that snow and pick it up, you have found a soul gem. It's about the size of your palm.
Ooh.
Dickums.
It is large. It's uncut and rough, but it is a soul gem. This one, it looks like a diamond though. It's white, not green as you've seen before in the other places. You've never seen one like this. In fact, you've never seen a clear white soul gem before. But it does look as a kind of internally, it has kind of an ethereal nature to it, a light that is reminiscent of those other soul gems.
I think I'll hold on to this. I kind of flash the gem to them and show them this big honking gem. And I if I can fit it in my pocket, I put it away. This is quite something.
You all are now here alone in this dragon's hoard, in this treasure room. What do you all want to do?
Well, let's get a look in for this orrery. I command. Let's get looking.
Flannery is still definitely a little bit reeling from how impressed he is with that incredible display of combat prowess. After the only time he's ever seen Sarah's in combat, she was on her knees and bleeding. So to see her kind of go up against the dragon toe to toe and take it out with such flair, he definitely is Flannery liked that asterisk. Like a
like in Dragon
reputation
Age, yeah.
increase with with Sarah's.
Yeah.
Cool.
So if you all are looking around this room, anybody who wishes to look through this treasure hoard, feel free to roll me an investigation check. Okay. With those checks, this pile here, it still mostly looks like gold. You don't really see too much that is necessarily unique in a way, but it's just piles of gold, some gems. You're able to fill your pockets if you want. You have as much as you can carry kind of situation here, if you're so inclined. Gems, small gems, large gems. There's a few pieces of armor, but nothing that looks like something you might replace yours with necessarily. And it doesn't look like it's fantastic, just kind of run-of-the-mill armors. But Saris Flannery with a 16 in the back of this cave, atop one of the largest piles of gold, kind of in a central, almost perched on a pedestal of gold, kind of the crown jewel of this collection, is a golden orrery. You look up and you know right away. It not only is it gyroscopic in nature with many rings that are kind of interwoven with a central core of an orb. Looks like these rings would spin around that orb potentially. Looks no bigger than no bigger than maybe half the size of a basketball. It's not a large object. You could fit it in two hands easily. Made of gold, but it has almost a presence about it. When you look through this treasure, everything else kind of looks, it's gold, it's shiny, it's nice. But this, when you see it, you don't even have to be arcane or a wizard to know that this is magical. To know that this is a powerful item, you can almost sense that as it gives off wouldn't say it's a present glow, but almost an aura of it. It just looks different than the rest of the gold in this place. And it's just sitting right there on top of the gold piles.
Well,
let me look back. You two might want to come up here and have a look at this.
this
Fair
might
enough.
be our winner, our item that we're looking for.
I think when it comes to items of the arcane, etc., I'm going to defer to someone else to interact with it before I will.
Wow.
I might have seen it, but I'm not going to touch it. We all know what the king looked like.
Yeah. I mean, the dragon didn't look like it had any wounds on it from before, so...
It's true.
Let's see, I have something for this.
Do you have like identify or something, or?
I have find traps.
Oh, find traps. Yeah, you can use
Yeah.
that if you like.
That's a good idea. Okay, so it'd be at 2nd level, so...
Sure. Okay. Find traps. Okay. As you cast find traps, you don't seem to see any traps. There doesn't seem to be any laid plans here as you kind of scout out. What does it look like as you detect find traps? Is it a visual thing? Is it a sense thing? What's it like?
Yeah, so I'll make it a visual thing so everyone can see it. I'll kind of like just snap my finger and like a little, like a wave of like white light will kind of emanate out, and it'll just generally like scan the area, and it'll outline things, but nothing pops up red or anything, which is, Eliana explains, is how it would usually be if any danger was around, it would be detected.
No, nothing is indicated as a trap here in your findings. So, yeah, you all can proceed closer to it. You can pick it up. You can go to it if you want. Up to you all how you interact with it.
Well, I guess I'll take one for the team.
Well, I
And
mean,
I'll like,
you are a wizard.
well, you may want to hold on to me for later, but Eliana is doing a fantastic job, so. So I'll sort of like werewolf run like up and like jump up onto the ledge,
Oh, I like the
transforming
visual of that.
back into Toddleheim like as I land,
Okay.
and then try and grab the thing and see what happens.
Yeah, you're able to pick it up. It right now it's inanimate. It's a hefty chunk of whatever metal it's made of. Looks goldish. Kind of has still a green hue to it, almost, but like a almost like a patinaed copper-ish. Kind of has some speckles of that in it, but still has that kind of shiny aura about it. You can tell that it's magical in nature, obviously, with your arcane background. Doesn't seem to do anything though. It's got those rings that kind of encompass the whole thing, different layers of rings going different directions. And if you were to manipulate it, you can spin those and move them. There is a series of markings on the outside of each ring. What languages do you know, Toddle? Let me look here.
Common, deep speech, dwarvish, gnomish, and undercommon.
Okay.
Wow.
So you don't recognize any of these languages. You do recognize it is a written language, but not anything that you've encountered before. There even seem to be symbols that you maybe might discern as even numbers on it as well, markings that indicate kind of numerical values as well.
It's not Elvish by any chance, is it? Because I know that one.
It is not.
Okay.
Actually, let me just take a peek here. Just look at everyone's languages.
Celestial.
Yeah. If you can read Celestial, you would be able to read what this says.
I can.
Ooh, I can as well.
Yeah.
Well, it's in my hands. So I'll jump down, even though it's far, because I'm still, werewolfy and all that. I'll jump down and I'll walk over to Eliana and I'm like, "Can you make any sense of this?" So hand it over to her and she'll have a look at it.
So what do I see when I read the text?
Roll me a D20.
To see if she can read. That's
See
insulting.
how well she reads this dialect and how
16?
worn it is. 16. It's a little faded, but you can discern at least the celestial part of these writings, and it almost takes you aback when you read it for just a moment. It seems so oddly familiar or specific. As you read it, it's just a simple phrase that just says, "The path to dreams begins with the truth."
Oh.
Eliana will dash over to Flinry's sword. Does the ring do anything?
As you approach Flinry's sword, that item begins to whirl. The rings begin to spin on it. Slowly at first, but the closer you get, spinning in different directions, it actually begins to levitate out of your hands and just slowly hovers above your hands, spinning in place, not in a violent way, just kind of in a like a mechanical way. And you notice as you look towards Flinry's sword, it begins to glow the color of those flames. It doesn't burst into flames, but it begins to kind of glow and emanate that reminiscent color.
Man.
What do you do? It's floating above your hands. You can still manipulate it and move it and take it or whatever you want. But the closer you get to that sword, the more it gets to spinning.
Okay. I will walk towards the sword and explain what the ring says to everyone.
Right. So you get right up on the sword.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As you bring those pieces together and get eminently closer, those rings spinning faster and faster. As they move close to that sword, they almost become a little bit magnetized, not quite like a violent attraction, but they start to pull towards each other. And Flinter, you notice your sword lifting just a little bit. And as the metal of that ring scrapes that sword, a flash of light blinds all of you. And once again, you find yourself in a desert of green. But this is not a location you've seen before. The The celestial events above you look familiar. The sand beneath your feet looks familiar. But in front of you, a structure. A large building with ornate columns and carved gargoyles and different ornamentation. It looks like a very old and building made of a lot of wealth of stones and marbles and things like that. But it is buried in the sand, kind of at a 45-degree angle almost. Not quite 45, but the bottom portion of the corner is kind of buried in sand. And it's just this large structure in front of you. And from inside, there are lights glowing.
Do we still have the ball? Do we still have both devices?
You still
my
have
sword
both
and
items. They, Eliana, that Ori is kind of fallen into your hands lifeless once again, and your sword is still as it was. No longer glowing.
Well, I guess we found the ore, eh? Jesus.
Saris, have you ever been here?
I can't say I have, no.
So nothing looks familiar here.
No.
Flannery? Anything?
It's a different place from where I woke up. I've never seen that structure before. Something here feels off.
Yeah. Well, I guess we don't have many options. Do we? I mean, we could head toward it, or we could try to make our way back. If we say the name of the city, maybe it'll work. I don't know.
We're in uncharted territory.
That Ori brought us here for a reason, I guess. So maybe we should go.
I haven't had a reason to doubt my sword yet.
Well, let's go then.
Okay. If you all agree, you enter this structure. Kind of, the doorway is still large enough that you can get through, but it is kind of half buried in sand. And the sand kind of spills into the area, into the entrance area, and kind of down some steps. It's a very ornate looking building. A lot of, as you look around, a lot of shelving and a lot of books. It begins to become clear that this is some sort of library sunken in the sand here in the middle of the desert. There are candle lights lit all over the place, lanterns. Pages have been pulled out and seem to be strewn across desks. There are books on the shelves. Roll me a perception check, all of you. Okay, Flannery and Saris, you would hear this kind of as you come in from the top and you walk down the steps to the bottom. You don't see it at first, but you hear the sounds of someone else in this place. It's not a violent or dismaying sound necessarily, but it's the sound of somebody muttering to themselves, just kind of incessantly. And you hear the sound of sand, just the sound of sand falling to the ground, and you start to, as you listen, just I don't know what's happening. I don't know. I need to know. I need to know. Just this muttering over and over again. Just shh. I need to know all of this knowledge. I need to know over and over again in a loop almost as you walk around this place. And as you follow that sound and you explore the location a bit, you see a man looking at a bookshelf. This man, tall in stature, 7-8 feet tall almost, large black wings that kind of span down his back. His hair is pulled back and the sides are shaved close. He's wearing leathers and robes of blue and black. From the side, as you approach him, you see that he has a large mustache as he's just incessantly saying, I need to know. I need to know. As he keeps pulling books off of these shelves, and the books fall to dust, to sand. As he pulls another book, it falls to sand. Pulls another book, falls to sand. And he's just beginning to look just in a trance almost, dismayed, almost in a loop. And Flannery, roll me a wisdom check.
Oh yes, my most.
You can do it with advantage, actually.
Okay. Okay. So shift. You're right.
Yeah.
$19.
Nice.
With a 19, you get, when you arrived in this place, you found yourself in some sort of dream, trance, some sort of hell, maybe. And it wouldn't be too large of a leap to understand that this individual might be experiencing some sort of similar circumstances.
Is this about our positioning in relation to him?
You can, yeah, he's behind a shelf. You didn't see him at first because he's standing behind the shelf, but you're able to move around wherever you want here.
Okay.
Something about the way he is acting reminds me of my first arrival here. Let me see if I can talk to him.
Flannery will, I suppose, move around the
Sure.
the shelf.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can be bigger than that, but
You're good. He's 8 feet tall. How tall are you?
oh, okay.
God,
I mean,
okay.
He's huge.
Well, okay. I mean, right now I could be his son, but we'll leave it like that's okay.
How's that?
That's better. That's a little more. Yeah.
What do you do when you approach this individual?
I
who
think
continues
just
to
carefully. Sword is back on my back. No hostility, no defense. Kind of hands out, and my friend. Greetings.
I have to know. As he continues to pull books, kind of oblivious to your words.
I too would like to know.
And I'll reach out and maybe just lightly rest a hand on the outside of his shoulder.
As you touch him, he seems to wake up. And this light kind of comes back to his eyes. And he almost stops what he's saying for a moment. And then reaches up again as if he's going to continue those motions. He stops himself. And he kind of looks sideways at you. I need to know. I need to... shakes his head. And as he turns to you, his look of desperation and defeat almost begins to turn to kind of a joyous look on his face in a way, almost a how to describe, almost like a self-confidence returning, like he had lost who he was for a moment, and now he's starting to remember. This is excellent. As he begins to kind of turn to look at all of you moving out from as you've moved around, all of you are coming around to look at him. This is excellent. I know exactly what I need to do now. I know my path. And he grabs you by the shoulder, Funry. You can be useful to me. And as you look him in the eye, you begin to notice this man looks familiar to you. Younger, facial hair is different. The hair is different. But as he turns and his true self returns, and he becomes confident, I can make good use of all of you. You will do nicely. As he smiles, kind of this wry smile, and with an air of self-importance and almost a little arrogance, as he's becoming a little more smug now. This is a face you've all seen before. This is the face of the Arbiter.